many fans here in this shit.
Hello and welcome back to coverage of the PCS Open 2023, the first ever Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series event in Europe and also a PDGA Euro Tour stop. Here at Øverås Diskgolfpark in Norway, we have a star-studded lineup, and we are excited to be bringing you Round 3 Front 9 MPO Chase Card action, brought to you by MDG Media. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Elias Luukkonen.
What's up, Connor? What's up, viewers? Nice to be here once again. Take a look at the players we got today. Star-studded, as you said. Eagle McMahon, one of the more exciting players to watch. Going to be interesting to see whether we're only going to see him throw that backhand or also go for the forehand that he's not using that much nowadays.
Joining him, Ricky Wysocki, currently the highest rated MPO player by the PDGA #1 rank in the world. A great addition to any card.
Eric Oakley, playing a great tournament so far. Wonderful player. He has a great forehand, very suitable for this course. Also has got some good power on the backhand side, very well rounded.
Rounding out this card, Adam Hammes, another player who has a great command of both the backhand and forehand and likes to tell people that he has some incredible sneaky distance. Not everyone knows him for his distance, but is really a strong power player on both sides.
Starting the round here on hole 1. Once again, a beautiful starting hole. Just look at the mountains, look at the sea on the background. It's 124 meters, right bending starting hole. Already proving the points of the forehand advantage on this course. You can see the OB wrapping around on the left side. Creeps in inside the circle on the behind of the basket. Road on the right, lines the right side OB. Most players trying to play that forehand, big forehand hyzer on this hole.
Then we'll have sort of the same announcement in English.
First on tee from Boulder, Colorado, Team Discmania. Please welcome to team Mr. Eagle McMahon.
Eagle here used to be known for his power forehand. Does look to be leaning on it now after an injury just recently. We've seen him even be leaning on his off left hand in order to create that left to right moving shot. But it looks like he's in good form here, firing off this forehand. Has a lot of speed, looks well aimed, coming up just a little bit short, but very common landing zone here on hole 1, and he'll be left with a decision if he wants to run that downhill putt.
Mr. Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah, you can see Eagle not quite going with a full reach back, just a very short throwing motion with the forehand. Maybe trying to protect that throwing arm. Ricky with a bit more power, a bit more height. This is also looking a little bit inside right, going to land right side of the basket, which is just fine. Gonna leave both of them with a circle's edge or just outside look.
Please welcome to team Mr. Eric Oakley.
Eric Oakley, another player who has a pretty strong sidearm game. I think that's what it takes to be up here at the top in a stacked field. A really historic venue that we're playing on today in this final round. We'll see if he can make the adjustment and push this out a little bit flatter before fading right.
It looks like he can. That's well wide, almost pushing the backside OB, and he's made his way inside of the edge of the circle there.
Please welcome to tee Mr. Adam Hammes.
Adam here on Team Discraft. He's very comfortable playing the big power hyzer. I think quite a natural release point for him.
Yeah, looks like that's what he's going for. This is a great looking line. You can see he pushed it a little bit wider than some of the other players. He's also, I believe, inside the edge of the circle there. And both Adam and Eric have a bit of a better angle to putt at the basket than Eagle and Ricky. Eagle and Ricky are looking straight down the hill. If they're missing this, it's likely rolling down the hill also towards OB. So scary putt here.
Yeah, you see just how tentative he is to give that the height and the speed. Sort of a floaty half bit, and very understandable there. We'll see Ricky, a very aggressive nose-down putting style. And he finds it there. Great birdie to get him started on hole 1.
That was a great putt, considering the backdrop behind the basket. And you can still see even Ricky was playing it very low, not giving it any height. Let's see if Eric can also start off with a good birdie on hole 1. And of course he can. Great putt. You can see the wind blowing a little bit. This was once again not a particularly windy day for this course, so conditions are very good, and that's really unfortunate to see. Adam, also known as a strong putter, possibly getting some nerves on this hole 1.
Yeah, great point. I did touch on his throwing prowess, but Adam also one of the strongest putters when he's on. He is on. Rare to see him miss that putt, but he'll move on, and there's still 17 great holes of golf left to play.
One of them right here, one of the simpler holes on the course. Only 104 meters, OB right and left are both pretty far away, and there's really not much in the way for the shot. Really the only thing you have to avoid on this hole are these late branches above the late gap before the basket. You see this pond on the right side is not OB but rather a relief area, so where a disc enters the pond, you play from there, take your meter, and don't get a penalty stroke.
Ricky up first, came in this round 2 strokes behind Eagle and has snuck his way to 1. A good shot there to put him in the circle and give him another birdie look.
Yeah, most players going with a low shot here, either mid-range or fairway driver. You can see Eric also going very low here, needs to keep going forward. They're both a little bit short, but well within putting range there.
Yeah, I think both of them sneaking just 2 within the circle. And you touched on it earlier, but maybe some nerves to be felt in the final round of what is a very prestigious and exciting tournament. Eagle now playing a pretty lower speed disc and getting a bit more height, nose up, but powering this through. He does find that OB long. I think the first time that we've seen that on the MDG coverage. Very reasonable 104, especially if you disc down like I believe he did, but really gave it the juice.
Yeah, that's a pretty surprising error. There's really a lot of room, both in front of the basket, but also behind. You have to absolutely crush it to go far, OB. And Adam fading out a little bit left. He has avoided the OB. This is just a beautiful view. Look at the fountain coming from the pond. Just one of the prettiest courses you can ever play. A lot of features on this course. And he makes it, fixes the putting error from hole 1 with a stepper. You can see how much that meant for him and his confidence.
Yeah, we even get another look here from the behind angle. You're going to get a look at his form here. Creates a lot of spin, loves to give that soft step just dead straight, flat the whole way.
Yep, I was perfectly confident, and knowing that the pond behind the basket is no danger, and if you putt yourself in there, you will get just a short comeback of par. Eagle has to deal with a couple of trees. Let's see if he can navigate through them. And of course he
does. You mentioned that you have to crush it to go long, but Eagle is what's known as one of the crush boys, with part of that Discmania team.
Yeah.
True to his name there, and a great putt.
Yeah, talking with, I was actually playing with Thomas Gilbert this weekend, and he considered Eagle to be possibly the longest throwing player on planet Earth right now, as we see Eric Oakley. Tough putting miss there. Looks like he just pulled it right. It's not what you want to do from inside the circle. Ricky, another world-class putter here. Of course, he puts it in the middle. That's a good start. Going 2 down through 2 holes is ideal. Usually you can expect to pick at least one of these 2 holes. Usually it's hole 2.
As we see, Ricky has caught up to Eagle now, both of them at 14 under. The 2-stroke difference just like that. Eric bringing it back for the 3, and a confident putt there. Very manageable distance, but still good to focus and make sure to put those in, especially after the previous miss.
Yeah, Eric has an interesting putting style where he kind of stops his motion at the hip and then fires. Let's see if he can bring that to work on hole 3. It's another pretty scoreable hole. Only 110 meters. The gap that you're trying to hit on the right side of the fairway is pretty wide. You even have some options to go over everything if you want to. Really, players are trying to throw something flat or on a slight hyzer down this right side. Something straight to overstable, ideally a slow disc, approach disc or mid-range. Looks like Ricky is actually going for the less common inside forehand route, which can also work if you have to just have to put some anhyzer on it. Looks like he's done it.
And he will be left with a tricky putt sneaking his way behind that bush, looking significantly downhill on the slope. But interesting to note, if you saw our round 1 coverage, he threw the backhand line on the right and also had quite an unfortunate outcome. So he's making some mid-round adjustments here, or mid-tournament rather, between round adjustments. Adam there going out just a little bit wide, not finding the fade required to get down the hill. And that will not be a super easy approach. He'll need to give it a lot less distance than he is to the pin and hope that the ground play can filter him through effectively.
Yeah, this is a much better looking shot from Eric here, but also a little bit wide. A little bit surprising how none of these players are getting it to the circle. It looks like Eagle is trying to go over the right side bushes with a spike hyzer. Very good play on this hole if you have a lot of power. It looks like he has thrown it pretty much perfect. Would expect this to filter down to the basket, as he does, just outside the bullseye. Great shot.
A great touch and a great understanding of both his discs and his angles to ensure he pushes that distance just right, and getting some great fade to the left. We'll see Adam up first. Likely just going to lay this up and mitigate the risk of potentially firing down the hill. That was a bid. And as a result, you see him go down the hill. A very aggressive choice there. And it is final round. This may be the difference between... I mean, you see how far he's left with from this angle. That was really an aggressive bid there.
Yeah, super aggressive. And you might just wonder, like, was he even going for that? Or could that possibly just have gotten away from him? As you can see, missing the comebacker. He's gonna take a bogey on this pretty simple hole. Eric with a much more manageable look here. Needs to not roll. He's rolling towards the OB, needs to stop real quick. You can just see how sloped the green is from this angle. Ricky is also looking straight downhill towards OB. But not a lot of distance, only about 10 meters, and great putt from the knee. I believe Ricky, one of the better putters in the game, but especially one of the better adjusters. He's really good at adjusting his putt to the situation. Comfortable from the knee with a push putt, with a spin putt, whatever the situation calls for.
And you see that versatility there. Off the knee from the bush, going downhill. Gets that spin putt right in the chains, and he is 3 through 3. Ricky Wysocki on a hot start here.
That's really kind of the start you want. Some of these first holes are the most scoreable holes on the course. Pretty much the first 7 are all holes that you would like to pick up. Good comebacker from Eric there. Important not to take a bogey early on in this round, which is exactly what Adam will have to do here.
Yeah, he'll pick that one up. Fortunate for Eric to not have rolled too long. An eagle with the tap in 2 off the wide spike hyzer, showing us his creativity and accuracy.
Bring it on to hole 4. Very technical. Not a very long par 3 here, only 105 meters. You see this OB line lining the whole right side of the fairway. If you hit any of the trees on the right side, you're likely to be kicking OB. So most players trying to avoid that plate rather on the left side. Most players are trying to throw something pretty low, possibly hit the ground a good 15 or 10 meters before the basket and slide their way up there. It's usually a hard thrown mid-range or a soft thrown fairway driver. You can just see how tight the gap is here with also a very low ceiling.
Yeah, it is a very pure tunnel shot. Ricky there bleeding out the left side. We didn't see the full finish, although it looked like he was going to be caught up in those trees. We'll see if he was able to filter through eagle now. I personally am a fan of utilizing a little bit of understability on this hole. Some players will push out a more stable disc on a flat release, play a soft flex, but I really like that flip up to flat hyzer release and slide along. It's interesting to see players' preferences when facing a pure tunnel shot of 105 with OB tight on the left and right.
Eric here, beautiful line. Does not flip it up quite enough. That was a very good looking release from the hand, but he hasn't turned it over. Almost challenging the left side OB, but he's gonna have a circle 2 look there. Pretty scary one though, since it is also a bit of a slopey green. And Adam here, good angle, but going a little bit high. Actually gets through all the branches. That's a pretty surprising result there.
Yeah, he did go for that slightly more overstable flat release that I touched on, but not managing the height of the low ceiling, that final gap, catching his disc. Eagle, still short of the basket, can give this a soft floaty approach, and he almost puts it in just low, and that was a smooth line.
Very good touch there, and Eagle, one of the players that does not really get recognition for his soft putter shots, as Eric makes a great putt. That's what you want to do after missing a couple on the last 2 holes. Let's take another look. It was beautiful, and another slightly scary putt with that little slope on the green.
But we see he's very confident from up there on the rocks, catching the birdie here on 4. This is Ricky, still with a little bit of distance to manage, so did fight through quite fortunately on that left side. And this is for Ricky to go 4 through 4. Just a little bit low. Rare to see him get that little height on his putt, but given the nose down style that he putts with, if it doesn't come out with the height, it's not really going to push upwards at any point in the flight. And he'll be tapping in a par. Adam now.
Yeah, Adam made it through very well. Right inside the circle here and picks it up. Quite rare that you see the higher shots getting through the branches and all the way to the basket, but he takes advantage. Important to get a quick birdie after that unforced bogey on the last hole. Eagle here, just a short cleanup.
No worries there for him. Pars for Eagle and Ricky, both currently tied at 15 under. Eric sneaks his way to 1 stroke behind them once again, and Adam 2 strokes.
Walking up the hill to hole number 5. Once again, very technical par 3, only 99 meters. These are getting shorter and shorter each hole, it feels like. You have to hit this initial gap with preferably a straight to overstable either mid-range or fairway driver. You want to push the ceiling as high as possible because here's the next obstacle, the pond before the basket. If you don't push the ceiling, you're very likely to be ending up in the pond. So important to fade over it. Most players are rather trying to fade a little bit left than staying straight.
We'll see Eric up first. Looks to hit the height very nicely. The stability now required to get left, and he fires well over the wall. And although he hits the height very nicely, gives it too much power with that very straight flight not fading in time. He pushes the OB long, and that will be a tester of a putt, moving back towards the potential for OB.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but that's kind of the risk you bring into play with going that straight glided disc rather than a stable to overstable one. And Adam possibly a little bit worried about that. Early releases to the left. Gonna have just an approach to get his par.
This looks like a really nice shot from Rick. He does catch a branch along the way, but sneaks his way over the stone wall, and he is just outside bullseye here on hole 5, likely putting together his 4th birdie of the round through 5 holes.
Yeah, that was perfect, and possibly even might have been a helpful branch hit, I think. Let's see Eagle here with the mid-range, going with much more of a severe hyzer angle, kind of flipping it up. Perfect shot there. Really showing off how differently you can play this hole.
Yeah, he really hugged the inside of the tunnel. You can filter through quite earlier than it may look for the pure tunnel shot, and have a fairly friendly result. Adam here with a long putt. And what a bid from way downtown. Keeping it safe, giving it the speed, giving it the height.
And this is a bit of a scary putt. If he misses this, it's going right at the OB pond. You can see very tense run there. But he's under the basket for the bogey, which is once again not what you want to take on one of these easier holes on the course. Eagle with a good birdie.
Adam salvaging his par. We'll see Eric tapping in his bogey, as you mentioned, and Ricky with the tap in birdie, maintaining pace with Eagle and securing his 16 under here. A tight battle between these two, and historically, two players who have clashed many times head to head.
Yeah, both Ricky and Eagle many times have been up to that number 1 or number 2 spot in the world. Trying to make that push once again on hole 6, one of the most iconic holes on the course, the gates of Valhalla. You're going through between these 2 Viking swords and below the banner, forming a triple mando. If you miss the mando, continue from the drop zone where you have a circle 2, look for the par. Many players trying to hit either a forehand or backhand pretty much flat and land it before the basket and slide their way up there. Ricky here with a really severe analyzer angle. That looked like a bit of a weird release. And he's
Yeah, I
actually
think a bit
missed
of
the
a-
Mando.
Oh, that will leave him from a tough spot. Looks like a little bit of a rolling of his wrist, maybe caught on a late finger. Eagle here with a smooth, buttery shot. You said that he doesn't often get commendation for his slow putter shots, but has an amazing touch, and you see that displayed there here on hole 6.
Yeah, that was perfect from Eagle. Right as he wanted. Hit the ground about at the length of the Mando. That's really what you want. Because the OB long on this hole also comes into play pretty quick if you fly this too far. You can see even Adam almost tickling that OB long, skipping off the rocks, but he's still inside the circle there.
Eric likes to play a really low release on his backhands, all the way down by the bottom of his leg, drawing just over that wall with a laser line underneath the pin. That's a great shot from him.
Let's see if Ricky can save it from... He opts to go for the right side drop zone. Very aggressive bid. I feel like it's smartest to go for the right side drop zone if you're a right-handed player, since your putter will fade away from the hill rather than down the hill. So good play from Ricky there. Adam, edge of the circle putt here. Good make
Very
there.
nice. He's had a little bit of a roller coaster round, but managing to secure his third birdie now. He's going to be tied with Eric at 14 under, and we will see Eagle now steal a stroke from Ricky and push his way to the lead of this chase card.
Yeah, even a couple of strokes from Ricky as he takes that bogey. And once again, one of the more scoreable holes on the course. I'm sure he's kind of blaming himself for that. And the scoreable holes continue with hole 7. 204 meters par 4. Most of that distance you would like to bite off with your first shot. You see the OB right on the edge of the wood line and the OB left. Both pretty wide, you have a lot of room to swing your shot. Trying to throw hyzer or a flat shot with an overstable disc towards the edge of the woods. Hopefully fade well before land somewhere near this gap. And if you get the perfect drive, that is about 140 meters to the mouth of the gap, you only have a short pitch-up sidearm to the basket. Many times we see players not quite getting to the gap, and if they don't, a lot of the times we see people going over on this hole. The trees are pretty low, so you have a lot of opportunity from almost any part of the fairway. It looks like Eagle has got this pretty much perfect.
A mega hyzer bomb. That is a great spot and will give him most likely an open and straight look to the green. And just on that one hyzer angle speaks to that big power that you touched on earlier. Adam here with a slightly lower line pushing up to flat and getting some healthy fade. Also a very ideal shot, both of them right in that sweet spot.
And good to be on that left side of the fairway rather than the right, really opening up that gap. If you're pushing the right side trees too much, you often end up with a too tight of an angle for the forehand approach, which looks like Eric is kind of doing. He needs to finish very strong left here. And he is in bounds, but on the right side, so will be interesting to see whether he has to go over the trees with his second.
Ricky playing a soft flex here, likely a very overstable disc, although the Anheuser release pushing his disc forwards. He will also find himself on the right side of the fairway, hugging the tree line.
And he's looking high. Some sort of a sky Anheuser here. Very tricky shot to film. Hope for the catch cam guy to be ready. And wow, what a great result. perfect angle control, able to not cut roll at the end, even with that steep Anheuser angle. That was beautiful.
Yeah, so impressive. You see Eric from a similar position, just pitching up to the mouth. So smooth. I was surprised to see Ricky not leaning on his power forehand there, but getting over an eagle as well, dropping bombs on this green with what I believe was a grenade there. So straight up and down, a lot of speed.
Yeah, grenade there, and you could hear somebody from the crowd yelling, "Coming!" for the catch cam guy, as already once this year, a catch cam operator has been hit by an Eagle McMahon grenade, which is one of the worst destinies that can happen to a disc golfer. That was a good approach from Adam. You can see he had a great angle to only throw just a regular pitch-up forehand there.
Oakley, after pitching out, giving it a good bid from pretty far away, opting to go over the pond, and this slightly backsloped green allowing players to get aggressive on their second shot. Even from an imperfect position such as Ricky's, you saw that these guys are looking to attack and find the birdie here on 7. This is eagle for his birdie. Sneaks at it.
Yeah, strong low release there. Just over the cage the whole way. And picks up his third birdie in a row. Eagle is kind of on a roll right now. That's what you want to do in these first 7 holes. They are the most scoreable stretch on the course. And Adam, already the second short missed putt of the round.
And looked very similar to his putt on hole 1. From about the same distance, unfortunately the same result off the cage. Ricky, that is an amazing birdie considering where he was off the tee. That Sky Annie really getting him into a great position and securing that. You see a lot of green on Ricky's scorecard as well.
We're entering the woods now for a couple of holes. A much shorter par 4 here, only 160 meters. Very technical though. Off the tee you want to throw straight shot landing near these players right here. It's a really about 105 meter straight shot off the tee, which leaves you with a tricky approach. Only about 60 meters long, but you can see that OB on the right side creeping inside the circle. Most players are trying to throw a slow, overstable disc on the approach, throw it towards that OB, but skip well before, and hopefully find themselves right next to this elevated basket.
A smooth hyzer flip to softly turning shot from Eagle. He is just battling that final bend of the fairway. Still probably a little bit pinched and won't be offered the more straight looking shot. Will still need to shape it a bit. Ricky opting for the forehand finds himself in the left side rough. And you saw before Eagle's shot a very deep breath. I think a critical moment in the season and tournament standings for a lot of these players. This is a very big event. And Adam with a nice power forehand, getting through everything, really pushing that ceiling, and you see him find the distance as a result, getting through pretty clean.
Yeah, the forehand play is a very good play here and super aggressive. If you hit the forehand perfectly, you can fade well around this corner, as it looks like both Adam and Eric have done. Those are not far away from the basket, only a pitch up shot from there. Let's see what Ricky does. There's opportunity to go over the trees on the left side. You can see the trees are very low. Needs to crash through, and he has actually done it. He is within putting range there, although might have a couple of trees in the way still, but that's a very good result from where he was.
And he's potentially done it again. We see another grenade-looking shot from Eagle, although with a slightly modified grip from the traditional grenade. More like an inverted spike hyzer for him, and he brings it down right to the green as well. Great to see players' creativity and versatility tested on the course. Adam here, right from the straight of the bend, and you see the benefit of making it around that corner as he's able to just deliver a smooth and straight upshot.
That's a good shot there, and talking about those over-the-top shots, I believe that was kind of the only criticism I heard from some players, is that, as Eric takes a really bad kick towards the OB. But yeah, the only criticism I heard from some players was that, the trees on this course are pretty low, so oftentimes opening up those over-the-top shots, making them even the best option from a lot of positions. Let's see if Ricky can take advantage, and he does not.
After a good scramble, it's an interesting point that you raise, because especially in some of these wooded holes with a lot of OB, if you can avoid all of the obstacles, you really would like to. The over-the-top option, assuming it's something within your capabilities, removing a lot of the potential danger. And unfortunately, not much you can do about shorter trees, but a beautiful venue, and we see both Ricky and Eagle taking a par after a missed putt from within the circle. Eric as well finding the par with his errant upshot, and Adam taking the lone birdie here on hole 8 and snagging the box for this chase card.
Yeah, surprising to only have one birdie on this hole. It's a very birdieable hole, as we said, a shorter par 4. Only one more chance during the front 9 to get that one more birdie. And it's another one of these technical short par 3s that we saw many of at the start of the round. Only 104 meters. You have this initial gap that we're flying through right now, about 30 to 40 meters off the tee, that really forces you to shape a straight shot that only tails off to the right at the end. So most players either going with a slightly understable mid-range or fairway driver on a backhand, or trying to throw that flat forehand that fades to the right at the end. Very commonly do we see people landing a little bit short on this hole, since it is just so slightly sneakily uphill.
I think also due to the fact that you have to push straight and then find fade late in the flight, a very specific point at which you need your discs to start moving rightwards, whether it's a turnover or a hyzer. And we see Adam a little bit too early on that rightwards movement, does not break out of the tree line cleanly, will have to scramble still. Eagle looking to shape the more touchy backhand line. That's a lot of hyzer and a significantly understable disc. He has sent this pretty long, but a really good kick back to the basket, and he is parked.
This is a pretty impressive distance to reach with the mid-range, as most players are playing it pretty low. The gap is getting really tight if you get too high in there. And Ricky there, turning the forehand over just a little bit too much. Let's see if Eric can make a fix on that. Another great forehand thrower.
That's a nice fighting hyzer, but with too much height and still pushing too far straight before fading. He gets caught up on that last branch late in the far tree line. Spinning out, we'll see how much distance he is left with. You see it's a very specific line you need to shape. A lot of these shots that look even just decent or pretty good, not quite puring it, catching something along the way. Adam there with a nice scramble to put himself tap in 3, I think best case scenario after the tee shot. So no damage done. Ricky though, gonna try to putt this in from way downtown. Oh.
It is a great run, as you expect from Ricky. You know, he's a little bit mad about that par. It's really often parred hole. Inside the circle, putts for birdie are surprisingly rare here, as Eric makes a great one from just outside, getting some of that putting confidence. That's a good one to get, pushing his score to 3 under on the front 9. It's a solid front 9, not one of the hotter ones we'll see during this tournament, but definitely not bad.
Yeah, do you want to hazard a guess, Elias, at what percentage of the field birdied this hole?
I would have to guess it's probably not more than 25%.
It was, in fact, in round 3, the highest of the 3 at 35. 53% pars it took to round 3 for players to figure out the tricky hole 9. As we take a look at the top 10 standings, we see 2 players have separated themselves slightly. James Proctor and Paul Macbeth had a tight battle at the top. Just behind them, tied in third, Eagle on our card with Calvin from the lead card. Ricky right behind them in solo 5th. Tied in 6th, James Conrad, Adam Hammis, Aaron Gossage, Eric Oakley. We have only 9 holes remaining in the PCS Open 2023. We appreciate you joining us for this incredible action. Make sure to support us on the Patreon to support European disc golf coverage. You might even get some American cards and players on this channel every now and again, just like this tournament. We appreciate it, Elias. It was a ton of fun, and we'll catch you on the back nine.